Aloha, everybody, and welcome to the Fit to Fat to Fit Experience podcast. I'm your host, Drew Manning.
And I'm your co-host, Lynn Manning.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today on the Fit to Fat to Fit Experience podcast. Today, we have an amazing episode with Shaun T from Insanity. Everybody knows who Shaun is. He's a very successful entrepreneur who has built a brand around his fitness DVDs. He has his own fitness podcast, a super inspiring guy. And you guys are honestly going to love this episode because he is so open and vulnerable during this episode, you guys. You really get to know him and feel how genuine he is. In today's episode, we cover things like him growing up being sexually abused as a kid and how that affected him and has actually helped him and made him stronger. He opens up about being a proud, openly gay, married man, and he's happy with who he is. And you can feel it in his voice. Like, to hear him talk about it is awesome. And we also talk about how he has his own Fit to Fat to Fit story, where instead of gaining the freshman 15, he gained a freshman 50, believe it or not. So he kind of opens up and talks about that and what he learned.
And he also talks about his upcoming new TV show that comes out in January. So that's kind of exciting.
Yep. And so we really think you're going to enjoy today's episode. But first, our show sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by $workoutclub.com.
So $workoutclub.com, you guys, you get 5 at-home workouts that you can do at any fitness level. So we show beginner, intermediate, and advanced. They're about 10 to 20 minutes long, designed to be high intensity and burn fat. You get 5 healthy recipe videos, you get 5 motivation fitness tip videos, and you get them each week, all for just $1. There's no hidden fees, there's no long-term contracts, just $1 a week.
Yep, so check it out at $workoutclub.com. Our next show sponsor is Hylete.com, Hylete. Hylete is a fitness apparel company that we love, honestly. The quality of their clothing, their workout shorts, their workout shirts, their socks are some of the highest quality I've ever purchased. And my favorite apparel of theirs is their shorts. So they're so functional. I can use them for CrossFit. I can use them for running. I can use them for swimming. They're the dry fit material. They have pockets down the size of the hip. So you can put your phone. It's perfect for any smartphone. You can put your phone in there and it stays tight to your hip. So pretty much you can do a full CrossFit workout, or you can go for a run with your phone in your pocket, in case you want to, snap a selfie of yourself, doing burpees or pull-ups or while you're running, right? And it's not juggling around. It's not shaking around. It stays tight to your hip. You could be doing burpees and pull-ups, and it's not going to get in the way. These are some of the longest lasting fitness apparel that I've ever purchased. I still have shorts from 2-3 years ago, whereas this other stuff that I bought from Sports Authority tends to wear out, within 6 months to 8 months. It starts to fade and there's holes.
And for you women out there, their capris are the only ones that I wear. They're workout capris because they actually stay on, when you squat and sometimes your pants come down. That doesn't happen here. So Hylete.com/fit to fat to fit. We'll put that in the show notes. If you use that, you can get up to 50% off your order.
Yep. So check it out at Hylete.com/fit to fat to fit for exclusive pricing. All right, let's jump into today's episode and get right into it with Shaun T. All right, Shaun, thank you so much for joining us here on the Fit to Fat to Fit Experience podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. It's so nice to be talking to you guys. And, we haven't seen each other in a while, so it's time to get our talk on, if you will.
Exactly, man. And that's what I kind of want to start out with, is just let people know how you and I met, because I love telling the story of how we met. We were on the Piers Morgan show on CNN. And I think the premise behind the episode with Piers is he wanted to bring in all these fitness professionals, right? So I think there was like 10 of us, right, on the show, that 1 hour episode. And we're all in the green room chatting it up. And to be honest with you, Shaun, you were the only dude that I recognized. I mean, I've heard of these other people, but like I saw you, I'm like, Shaun T, Insanity, what's up, man? And we started talking and we hit it off, and it was really cool, man. And that's what I think was like, 2 years ago?
I instantly got a text message. You will not believe who I talked to.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was crazy because I think the difference with, I think the other people who were on there, they had names, but they were products, like they kind of sold products or classes where, we are the product of our product. So I think that's what the difference was. Hold on, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah. Hold on. Scott, can you get that, please? Oh my God. Like, hello, I'm trying to keep my friends right now. You gotta keep it on the
I'm busy right now. Jeez, who's trying to
There's probably some Girl Scout cookies or, something.
That would be hilarious. That would be freaking hilarious.
Get me some Samoas, please.
Yes. All right. Sorry about that. So anyway, yeah. So
that's okay.
On that show, it was just interesting because we're the product of the product. And so I remember when you came out with that YouTube, I call you a YouTube sensation of how you actually gained weight and then lost it again. I thought it was just an amazing premise of you actually leading by example, just to kind of put yourself in everyone's shoes, which made you really trustworthy. This is why I respect you so much. So, and you're really cool, and you're handsome. I mean, you got it all.
Dude, that's why I love you, Shaun, man. You keep it real, and that's what's cool is you had heard about my Fit to Fat to Fit journey, and I didn't have to explain it to you. And I feel like it's always awkward when I have to explain to people. Well, I gained 75 pounds on purpose, then I lost it, and people are looking at me like, "Why would you do that? Like, you're crazy. I don't want to talk to you." But you had already heard of my story and felt an instant connection. So I appreciate you coming on the show, man. And we love having leaders in the fitness industry come on our podcast. Like we've had Chris and Heidi Powell from Extreme Weight Loss, and now we have you. And first of all, I know 99.9% of people out there know you, but can you tell us a little bit about your background, like where you grew up, what kind of household you grew up in, and like a little bit about how you were raised, so we can kind of connect the dots to how you got to be Mr. Insanity, Shaun T, the one that everybody knows.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thanks first of all for having me on the show. And then, I grew up in Jersey and kind of a single parent household. And I mean, I had a stepfather, but that's a whole nother situation. So, but we grew up we didn't have a lot of money, but my mom was amazing. And what she did was she made sure that my brother and I got really good grades, and she was extremely strict, but she also allowed us to play sports and kind of do the things that we wanted to do as kids growing up. And it was kind of pretty cool. I was a pretty shy kid, believe it or not. Most people know me as like this loud and crazy person that's screaming at them to dig deeper, but I was actually really shy. And, in my early years of life, I went through 4 years of sexual abuse as a kid. And so I really kind of closed off to the world and went into a shell, just literally like a turtle. I was just like, I didn't trust people. I didn't want to talk to people because the person that molested me, if you will, was someone who was supposed to be, kind of someone I looked up to and an icon to me as a kid, So, but I went through that, and then I made the decision at 14 years old. That I wanted to. I had found a way to move out of my house to get out of that toxic environment, and I think that was like kind of the first. That was the first step to me, kind of trusting and believing in who I am. And even though it was a really tough challenge and a decision to make, I did it for the betterment of me and ultimately, really for my family as well. That's kind of a long story, but anyway, so at 14 years old, I really felt like that's when I was born. And I got to high school and I became more outgoing and fun, and I ran track and played football. And I didn't play football in high school. I played football as a kid, but I ran track and I loved it. And in track and field, it's really all about using your body to perform to your best capabilities. And so just doing that, and I was a 400-meter hurdler, and I made a promise to myself that once I started training, I would never run slower than I ran the last race. Like every race, I would run faster and faster and faster. And, I kind of carried that into my, college years. But at one point, like you, Drew, where you got fat on purpose, I didn't.
Yeah, I was going to talk to you about this because a lot of people might not know that you were overweight at one point in time.
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this. I know because you told me.
Yeah. So, well, here you go. Now you'll find out. No. So, in college, instead of getting the freshman 15, I gained 50 pounds the first year. And it wasn't from drinking alcohol. It was really from, we grew up on food stamps and, government assistance. So for us, food was like, you didn't really have seconds, and so I got to college and I got this food card, that food card that they give you, and I was swiping left and right, and then you can use it at Domino's. I was at 2:00 in the morning. Let me tell you something. A brother was going in. So
2 a.m. pizza always tastes so much better.
You know what I'm saying? So, I gained weight, and one day I looked in the mirror and I was just like, it was different. It wasn't necessarily all about how I looked. I just didn't feel like I was myself, especially having had a scholarship to college for track and field and not taking that scholarship. I took an academic scholarship instead. And just, I started my fitness journey there, and I started running on a treadmill for 10 minutes a day. And that's all I did for like, I think like a month. And then I started adding lifting, and then I fell in love with fitness, and I started teaching classes, and I changed my major to sports science. And so I started to lose weight, and I started to teach classes. And I remember the first time, a 40-year-old man came up to my 19-year-old self and said, you changed my life. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you're old. You know what I'm saying? But almost 38, 40 is not old. But at the time, you're looking at life. And so I know it's funny. But
that is funny.
And then I just said to myself, I want to do this for the rest of my life, because if people could if they could just feel good about who they are, forget about the aesthetics of like what you look like. If you can start to feel good about who you are and what you are, and trust and believe in who you are, then you really have the foundation to believe and achieve in anything you do. So, and then I moved to LA. I graduated college. I worked in the corporate world for a while, and then I moved to LA, and off of a whim, me and my brother jumped into my Ford Focus, and we drove all the way across country from Jersey to LA. And I said goodbye to my brother, and I was just like, I'm going to try. And he was like, you can do it. Because I went to really just be a professional dancer, because I love dancing. And I was like, if I don't do it at this age, then I'm never going to do it. So I was teaching fitness and at Equinox. And then a producer from Beachbody saw me and was like, oh my God, your class is awesome. Do you want to try and make a fitness workout? And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. But so it was amazing. I know you could ask a lot of questions. I'm giving you guys a Cliff Note version because the story is very long. But that's how I kind of got into Beachbody, and how I started with my first program, Hip Hop Abs. And here we are today. That was 10 years ago. It was actually 10 years ago, November, where I got approached and I got my first kind of contract to go into Beachbody. So it's pretty fun.
Man, that's
crazy,
so cool.
man.
Yeah, that's amazing. I didn't know that you were such a good dancer. I didn't actually know that you started with Hip Hop Abs, but I was just laughing to myself, imagining myself trying to do it, because I dance like Elaine from Seinfeld. Have you ever seen that episode where Elaine from Seinfeld is dancing? Yeah. It's pretty bad. I took Zumba once, and the instructor came up to me afterwards, and she looked at me and she just smiled, and she's like, "Oh, that was sweet." And I was like, what does this mean? What does this mean?
You know what I tell people? In my dance class, I'm like, if I go right and you go left, then you keep on going left, because eventually you'll catch on. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. I love it.
That's funny, man.
That.
No, but I love your story, Shaun. Like, going back, there's so many things we could talk about, and we could make this into a 5-hour episode. But
I know.
I appreciate you being so honest and open about, growing up and the trials that you went through being sexually abused, because there's people out there who have been that don't want to talk about it or don't know other people that have been through it. But I feel like great people come from hard things in life like that, like sexually abused, like being sexually abused. I feel like there's it happens to a lot of people. I don't know the stats on it, but I know it happens to a lot of people. But some of the greatest people I know in my life have come from some kind of hard trial like that. And so I appreciate you being open and vulnerable and talking about that, because I'm sure there's some people that can connect with you there, and to see how you've thrived in your life, I think will provide people a lot of inspiration. Because it's, here on our podcast and your podcast, I know that it's not just about how to get a six pack and, you know, how to lose fat. Like, that's cool and all. We know, like, people, that's what people kind of want, but ultimately people want to be loved. They want to be happy about who they are. And so I feel like we're kind of on the same page there as far as that goes. But anyways, fast forwarding to you, Beachbody. So you got approached. I didn't know that you lived in LA. You currently live in Arizona though, right?
Yeah. So we live in Arizona now. I moved to LA. I think I told you that, but and then I moved back to New York in 2000. I moved back to New York part time in 2008. I still have my place in LA, and then in 2010 is when I met my amazing husband Scott in New York City.
Yeah.
Which was like amazing. And he kept me in New York because I was like about to be out. I was like, it's cold here. Like, I'm just not in the mood. And so, then we ended up, after getting married, we moved to Arizona, and it's so nice and peaceful. You guys should come hang out with me.
Hey,
We
you guys
should,
should come hang out with us.
But
in
we're stuck
Hawaii,
here in Hawaii,
so.
unfortunately, for the next
Oh,
6 months. Yeah, did you know we're calling from Hawaii? Do we live here now?
I did know that. I think my business manager did tell me. And, I guess we'll come there whenever you guys invite us.
Exactly.
Okay, you're invited. You guys are officially invited.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
I mean, Arizona's nice too because it's warm, but I mean, you could just, we literally live across from the beach. Like, you could see the beach from our place. So you might want to.
Just rub it in.
I'm just saying, you might
We're
want
trying not to rub it in. No, we love Arizona too, man. But anyways, yeah, I appreciate you telling me this is the story. So you guys are in Arizona now. Now, you've been with Beachbody 10 years, right?
Yes, and it's so funny. I just thought about that as I'm sitting here talking to you guys. I have to post something about that today. It'd be fun.
Yeah, Throwback Thursday, right?
Exactly.
Decades strong.
10 years ago. So what has it been like working for Beachbody? You've been with them 10 years. Can you talk about things that you've enjoyed and maybe some things that maybe you haven't enjoyed, or some things you've learned that are different about the industry? Can you talk a little bit of details about maybe the pros and cons, if you will, if you think that's safe?
Oh, please. I'll say anything. So, I started on this journey and I accepted to go into Beachbody because I was always under the impression that if you can help change one person's life, you kind of have done your duties in the world. And so when I first got my contract to work for Beachbody, the agency I was with told me that, the program I was going to create wouldn't work because it's an infomercial. And so, it was kind of very discouraging. And then so I was just like, well, I'm sure there will be one person that decides that they want to do my little workout video, and I'm sure they're going to lose weight. And so that's the only reason why I decided to continue to move forward, because I was just like, someone's going to benefit from this.
Yeah.
I think all fitness products, someone will benefit from, so it's all worth it. And so, Hip Hop Abs was a great success. And then I did Rock and Body, and then I moved into Insanity, which you all know. And then Asylum, and then T25. And so the greatness has been just constantly being able to enhance people's lives, because I always go back to that. Like, that's the reason why I started this in the first place. So that's the constant pro to this whole situation. Every day, the people I get to talk to on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or via Periscope or whatever it is. The only cons that come with it is, I think sometimes, like, when you work with a big company like that, like, people like kind of put you on a pedestal that you don't really need to be on. I don't walk outside being like, I'm Shaun T, so I should be, greater. Because I'm just a human. Like, I'm literally just a human. Like, I wake up, I eat, I go to the bathroom, I got to go back to
What, you do?
yeah. What? God, isn't it a surprise?
Yeah, so, it's crazy.
You know what I mean? So that's I think that's the thing, is like, I'm just a human. Like, I'm not, no one person is better than the other. And so I think sometimes, like, people really dissect, oh, well, he's, drinking that, or he's eating that, or, and I'm just like, I'm doing me. You know what I'm saying? You do you, and I'm doing me. And just know that when I wake up every day, my only goal is to help enhance people's lives. And then the other pro about this whole situation is actually seeing, people change their lives, or even people like you guys, it's just like really fun to be around and inspired by people who are constantly wanting to better themselves. Because even myself, I mean, I have days where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to eat a cheesesteak and I don't care. But, I don't stay in you know what I'm saying? I don't stay in the cheesesteak world because, when I do interact with a fan or another fitness expert, I get the motivation right back to say, okay, this is why you need to stay on this journey. So, but I think that's the thing. And then the other thing, the only other con that I feel being in this industry, especially working, with a company like Beachbody, is that you kind of get a lot of overuse injuries on your body because of the development of programs. So, when you're just doing a workout every day, you warm up, you do the workout, you cool down, you stretch or whatever. Whereas sometimes when I'm developing a workout, it takes so long to develop, and you're kind of like doing different exercises. So you might jump 10 times here, then you might talk about it, and your body is not at a constant motion. It's kind of in and out of movement. And so you're like, oh, dag, I'm sore. Or, you just kind of get these like different ailments, from the creation process. And I think that's what I want people to know. Like when myself or any other Beachbody trainer, I mean, I can't really talk for them, but when any other trainer in general puts together a workout video of sorts, it is a lot of work physically and mentally and emotionally, and it's really draining. And for me, if you watch my DVDs, even from Hip Hop Abs, like in my very first ones, like my thing, like I don't really care about the actual exercise that you're doing. I care about the fact that you want to do it and you're internally motivated and inspired. So when I'm talking to the camera, like in Hip Hop Abs, I was cutting up like, oh yeah, bitch, let's get that. Where it's like an insanity. I'm like, right, an insanity. I'm like, you're right there. Like I have so many different things going through my head. So the con is like the emotional, mental, and physical stress it puts on your body. But obviously, at the end of the day, it makes it all worth it because
sure.
But I mean, like, that's like anyone's job. Anyone's job, they might love what they do, but it comes with stressors and it comes with like some challenges. And so you just kind of have to work with them and find your way to keep moving.
Yeah, and a couple things I can relate to you on that. Like, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, mentally, emotionally, physically. Like, you don't know if your producer is a jerk that day or is having a bad day or you're having a bad day. Like, you got to be on point, high energy the whole time. And this is like, even though it's a 45-minute workout, it's taking you 5-6 hours to, film it at the right angles. Let's do that again, this again. I can only imagine, man. And a couple things going back to your point about if you could only impact one person, it's worth it. There's always going to be haters out there telling you, oh, this Hip Hop Abs program isn't going to work because this, that, and that. Your fit to fat to fit idea is stupid because, you're getting fat on purpose, and no one's going to be inspired by that. But I felt like, for example, I can relate to you in that I felt like if one person is changed by this for the better, to me, it's worth it to risk my body, my body, my low body fat percentage to gain weight and lose it if one person's inspired to make a better lifestyle change. So I can totally relate to you on that.
Yeah. And like the thing that I love about following you on social media, because I follow you on different social media accounts, is that you're not, and because you're fun and funny and cute and stuff too.
Oh,
but I mean, what I love about you is you're not the typical, the one thing that I have a really hard time in the industry, and I think you painted such a great picture and I can relate on so many levels, is I've always struggled in this industry because I'm not a typical trainer that's like, eat kale and do 2 hours of exercise. I don't feel like that's necessarily going to make someone happy with who they are. It's not necessarily about, like you said, the exercise. It's not necessarily about the exact, measure this out. You have to have exactly this much protein, carbs, and fat at each meal during the day. It's more about believing in yourself and loving yourself. And I love that you focus on that. Like you post so many positive things for people about, believing in themselves and overcoming hurdles and just pushing forward. And I feel like in our industry, sometimes we miss that mark. What is your focus do you try to focus a lot on, self-love or self-improvement, and do you feel like you do that because of your history?
Yes. Oh, well, thank you for the question. Thank you for following me on social media. I appreciate it. And yes, I do try to stay as positive as possible. But sometimes I have to fix people too. You know what I'm saying? But I think for me, I could wake up, I've attempted this, and this is going to be a very honest / vulnerable moment. Like, I have attempted to write down every workout I'm going to do for the week and try to stick to, the food that I'm going to eat. And I was just like, this is impossible. It's impossible for me. Some people are very good regimented like that, but I realize in my life, like, I'm so spontaneous and I have to feel good about what I'm doing in the moment. So if Sunday night I do a schedule and I'm like, Thursday I'm going to run 3 miles, Thursday I might feel like dancing because I was stressed out from Wednesday and I need to just release some emotion. And so, kind of to answer your question, and you can let me know if I'm answering this correctly or if I'm answering what you asked, is like, I completely stick to the emotional side, or like the internal side of my motivation. It's like, the thing that motivates me most is, what is it that you want? And I think that everyone should ask themselves that question when they wake up in the morning. What is it that you want? Because if you find out what it is that you want in the beginning of the day, you immediately have a goal to go and attack that. And so I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you're in the middle of doing 60 days of insanity and at day 34, you're like, Shaun T, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm like, I don't care if you don't do insanity. I'm like, but what is it that you want? Like, switch to something that you are going to do that is going to make you happy, because, insanity is not for everybody. Dance isn't for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, and we were saying earlier about how people, going from fit to fat to fit, people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. I'm like, well, people say that about the shake weight too. And guess what? But think about it. There's a woman out there that got her arms tight and right from shaking that shake weight. So, I mean, don't tell me what I need to do. And the other thing is, the other thing with that whole thing is, I also had to accept. Now, people might think what I'm about to say is like silly, but I also had to accept my body type, because if you look at each one of my workout programs, I look different in every single one of them. And, and that's just proof that as you grow and get older and change your workout regimen or whatever's going on in your life, your body's going to change with that. And I'm just like, you have to accept where you are today, because the minute you try and be like X over there, you have X'd yourself out of the equation. So be like you and stay in your lane, and switch lanes when you have to. But if you stay in your lane and be 100% authentic to who you are, then, oh my God, like, that's like the most amazing thing. Like, don't try to lose 50 pounds if you only need to lose 20. Like, be real cute at that 20,
Yeah. No, and I love that. You answered it exactly how I wanted you to answer it, because, if you look at the statistics of how many people start a program and how many people quit, sometimes for me that gets really discouraging. And I think, how are we missing the mark? Like, what can we say or do to make it a better experience for people? Is it simply that people, my opinion is that it's a lot to do with people have a hard time being motivated, not because they don't want it. I hate when people say they just don't want it enough. Those people don't want it enough. They do want it. Most people just don't believe in themselves, or they've been through hardships, or they're depressed and they need like some type of motivation. And I think you hit it right on the head, where maybe they start out in a program, but then they wake up one morning and their body is kind of telling them, yeah, I don't want to run 5 miles today. I want to do yoga. And instead of, quitting, this is just for like everyone listening, do yoga, listen to your body. Like with my clients, yes, I give them a program, but I tell them, wake up every morning, thank your body and listen to it and just ask it, what do you want to do today? Like, how do you want to move? And I'm like, and if your body says that it doesn't want to do that workout and it wants to go for a swim, or it wants to dance, or it wants to skip, wants to run through the sand, whatever your body wants to do it. And love it.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing I've learned over the years and from doing Fit Fat to Fit is, you can't hate your body enough to use that as long-term fuel for motivation. You have to love your body first, and foremost before you can make a lifestyle change. In my opinion, I used to be of the mindset, okay, I'm going to be, I hate this extra fat right here and this and that. And people use that as motivation, but it burns out really quickly. And then they just end up hating their body no matter how perfect it gets. They're always critiquing every little thing. So if you can teach your mind to love your body first, I think that is what we're trying to get people to do, so that along their journey, they're still loving themselves along the way. No matter what they look like, it's about how you feel, right, about yourself. And so there's nothing sexier than confidence. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just want to say that there's nothing sexier than confidence, no matter your size. So try and love yourself first before you go and start a program or do something to make a lifestyle change.
Yes, I agree. And the reality is, I don't know how it felt for you when you went from fit to fat to fit, but I do know that a lot of people still, even if they lose 100 pounds or whatever, how much they lose, they sometimes still see that overweight person. And I'm like, sometimes like people are like, I just want to forget about the overweight person. And I say, I'm like, no, because sometimes you need to turn around and look, because life is like a relay race to me. It's like if your first leg of that relay race was you being fat, then that fat person that you were, or that overweight person that you were, was the first leg of your team, and they helped you get to where you are today. And so you need to celebrate every milestone that you hit. And it just brings me. You were talking about just body and people looking at what they have on their body. And so my first podcast of 2016 for Trust and Believe is going to be about accepting yourself naked. And I went around town when I was in Atlanta. I was in restaurants. I was everywhere asking people what they felt about themselves and how comfortable they were with being naked. Because my challenge is for people to just like walk around butt ass naked. So I'm like,
I love this.
Yeah.
I love this.
But it's
of course, every man in America is like, I feel like all the women should be on board with this. I feel like everybody should walk around naked.
Yeah.
Everyone's on board.
Yes. It's so funny, but which reminds me, I'm going to have to call you guys back and record your answer to my questions about being naked, because I think it'll be really fun, because you guys seem so fun.
I have no problem.
We will answer that question while we're naked. How about that? That'll be even better.
We'll get butt naked and we'll be like, how do I feel right now?
Yeah. In the moment.
Awesome. I love that you're doing that, though, because, it really, I pose similar questions to my female clients. Like, you know what? My goal is I want you to feel comfortable in your skin, and a lot of women, they think it's about the size, but they get to a size 2, but they don't feel comfortable naked. They don't really love themselves. They don't really love their body. That's such a power, man. I love that. I love that you're doing that. It's powerful. Yeah. And, I love how open and intimate you are. So I'm kind of going to ask you something personal, just because I've really been curious about it and really admired you for this. So hopefully you don't mind me getting kind of personal here. But, hearing about your story, about you overcoming adversity, you're dealing with, growing up in humble means, dealing with sexual abuse, and then seeing the prejudice that we've had to do with homosexuality, and then of course you being so prominent in the industry. Was that ever a huge hurdle for you to overcome? Did you feel like you had to hide that you were gay, or was that never an issue for you, since you had kind of already overcome so much in your life?
Right. Thanks for the question. Oh my God. So when I was 16 years old, I was sitting in my bedroom and I was kind of really stressed. I was really excelling at sports. I was pretty good in academics. I was in a lot of organizations at school, but I was still very unhappy. And I was sitting in my bedroom one day and I was just like, you know what, Shaun, like you have to just accept this. You have to accept who you are. And I got up and I walked into my bathroom and I turned on a light. I closed the door. I looked in the mirror and I said, "You're gay. You're gay. You're gay." I said it like 10 times. And when I walked out the bathroom and I shut out the light and I closed the door, well, I left the door open because I left the door open. But when I said that, from that point forward, I was like, I don't give a crap what people think of me. I'm just like, I just don't have time for that. I mean, think about it. I had already been through like crazy molestation. I had been through moving out of my house. I grew up in the hood. So, I mean, I had been through so much. I'm just like, for me, what was really interesting when my assistant posted on Twitter, Shaun T and Scott gets married or whatever, and then all the tabloids were like, Shaun T finally comes out. I'm like, bitch, I was out like 100 years ago. Like,
I love your attitude, man. It's
but
awesome.
I'm just like, I'm not sure what you want me to do. I'm not sure what you want me to do. Like, I mean, and let me just keep it very plain. Trust me, I know there's people out there who believe that like sexuality is a choice, and like, there's religions and all this stuff. So I'm just like, if your belief is your belief, and I respect your belief. But the other thing that I know is that I'm going to be me, and my husband is fine. So even if I was straight, I might be like, damn, he fine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, so, but to be very, candid, it's never really been an issue for me. I actually, my mother and my brother were just extremely accepting when I came out to them. And I actually didn't really experience any kind of prejudice to it until I got married, which was interesting, but not prejudice on me. Is because Scott, he was a professional soccer player, and he actually struggled with being gay because, he was in professional sports. And as we started to develop our relationship, he had to get more comfortable with, he was, it's not like I was his first gay relationship, but he just wasn't really open to the world about who he was 100%. And there were still some friends that, may not have known that he was gay, or people in his life. And so, I actually was able to experience that through him. And I thought it was really kind of amazing and interesting to kind of go through that struggle through, someone who I love dearly. But as far as just the whole sexuality thing in general, this is what I tell people. If you're out there and you're struggling with your sexuality, you know what? Not everybody is going to like you anyway. You could be the prettiest, you could have the best looking eyes, you can have the best boobs, a butt, the best abs, and there's still going to be somebody out there who doesn't like you. We weren't put on this world for everyone else to like us. We were put on this world for us to just be who we are. And, I believe that you are the average of the 5 closest people to you. And if you have 5 people around you that constantly lift you up and you constantly exude positivity, I'm like, if people don't like you because who you want to sleep with, then they weren't meant to be in your life anyway. And lastly, I'll say, sexuality is not just about having sex. Sometimes I hate that it's called sexuality. It's really about who you love and, who you vibe with, and your partner is your partner. And, and the other thing, and I just have to say this because you guys are so cool. So when people have said, when I've been in like conversations where people are like, being gay is a choice. My thing is like, so as a guy, as a straight guy, so
when did you choose? Yeah.
I say, when did you choose? But I take it a step further. I'm like, so what you're saying is you would actually enjoy being with a man. You just choose to be with a woman. Because if it's a choice, then everybody likes everything. And I don't think that's the case. And so I'd be like, bye, Felicia. Don't.
I freaking love it. And then of course they look at you with these eyes. They're like, well, that's not what I said. It's like, well, it is. That's exactly what you just said.
Yeah, because you're basically telling me I had a choice. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
A choice is what workout you want to do when you wake up in the morning. A choice is what food you want to eat. A choice is, where do you want to go to school to better your life? A and B is a choice. So
no, much respect to you, Shaun. I appreciate you coming and talking about it and being vulnerable and being open. And I think it's encouraging to other people who might be struggling, right? Or who feel like they have to hide. Honestly, a lot of respect.
Yeah. Or like he said, if it's not, I love what you said about if it's not this, if it's not your sexuality, it's something else. Like everyone is not going to like you. There's plenty of people that don't like me no matter what I do. And I think for me, it really took me getting into my 30s to finally understand and grasp that concept and be me regardless of who liked that. Yeah. And I one of the quotes that I remember hearing that really hit me is, it's not your job to like me, it's mine. It's my job to like me.
I love that.
And it's exactly what you said. Like the moment you the moment you stop being in everyone else's business, worrying about what they're going to think of you, and instead focus on you and loving yourself, everything else watches away, and you don't, you start to love yourself more, and you, in a good way, stop caring about what all these other people are thinking about you. Like you said, the people that mind don't matter, and the people, the people that really love and care about you are always going to be there to support you regardless. So that's what I love.
I like what you said, people that mind don't matter, and the people that matter don't mind. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. But,
exactly.
But thanks for asking. I mean, it's something that I don't even think about anymore daily, because I wake up next to the person I love, and hopefully you do too. And life is about being happy. And we only have one. We're only going to be here one time, unless you believe in reincarnation, then that's a whole nother thing. But we're only here for one life, And so the other thing is, I wake up every day again, and my first thought is, what can I do for my family, of course? And then what can I do to enhance the world, enhance someone who may be struggling? And if you don't like me purely because of who I love, then, go find somebody that will make you think positive. And that's all I say about it.
I love that, man. And we really appreciate you talking about that. And hopefully there's definitely people out there that you talking about it is going to help, So really quick, we're running out of time, Shaun, and man, we have to have you back on again, man, because we didn't get through half of our questions.
Damn it.
But what we want to talk to you about is just yesterday. So today is November 19th, I believe, right? 18th, 19th. Yeah. Anyways, yesterday you came out with a big announcement, man, and you posted on social media so you can talk about it. I'm assuming your TV show. Please tell us the details, everything.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, so the show is called, it's going to be on ABC Network in the new year. It airs January 7th at 8 p.m. and it's called My Diet is Better Than Yours. And what this show is about, what makes this show so incredibly amazing is that on any weight loss journey, the person who most consistent thing in a weight loss journey is the person who needs to lose weight. And so a lot of other weight loss shows eliminate people, if they don't lose enough weight or whatever, which is fine. I mean, people have different methods of motivation. But this show, My Diet is Better Than Yours, is about keeping that person who is trying to lose weight and eliminating the expert. So, so what happens? Yeah. So it's like, and it's so true to me because I'm like, if insanity doesn't work for you, then don't use my programs, but you need to go find something else that's going to keep you motivated. And that's what this show is about. It's about like all these people have, upwards of 100 pounds to lose, and they start these diet plans and they have their experts. And if they aren't losing a weight or if they're just unhappy, they get to switch plans. And it is amazing because this is why it's more amazing than anything, because these people are in their real lives. They're at work, they're in their homes, they're doing this like with, just having kids around or having, work challenges.
Real life, you mean? Not not the fake camp. This is real life people really implementing it.
So and you have, they have to go shopping, they have to do it. And I love that it's coming out in a new year because everyone has that New Year's resolution of wanting to stay fit. So for the month of January, people can tune in every Thursday night from 8 to 10 and see My Diet is Better Than Yours, hosted by yours truly, which is very humbling and exciting. But, it's emotional. It's an emotional journey, and it's so interesting and fun.
Which is cool, man. And I love the premise behind the show. Congratulations, Shaun. We're definitely going to be watching and tuning in. Very unique approach, and I love it. You're putting the power into the client's shoes, whereas before, the power's in the judges or the trainers. This time the client can be like, look, you're fired. I need someone else who knows how to help me lose weight. I think that's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to get into our really quick lightning round questions, which are just very quick, very fast, have nothing to do with anything.
So
they're just
lightning
fun.
round is like the best part. Actually, I feel like with Shaun T, we could have done like a really long lightning round because he's so fun. And the stuff he says is hilarious. It would have been great.
But you want to know what's funny?
What?
I do the same thing in my...
You do? You do.
Yes,
Yep.
It's so cool.
Oh my gosh, this is my favorite part.
Yeah.
That's so funny. And every time, like, I've had some people after their lightning round be like, when we're not recording, be like, why did you ask me that? And why did I say that? And I'm like, it's perfect.
Fun though, man. Perfect. Yeah, I love listening to yours, dude. It just makes it entertaining, you know?
Oh my
and
gosh,
so
it's funny. I haven't.
Great minds think alike.
I'm not very good at listening to podcasts, I'll be honest. So I haven't listened to yours, but I love that you do that. And I'm not surprised because you're hilarious. So, of course, we're going to ask you a series of completely unimportant questions that we think matter. And the key is, of course, since you do this, you know, you answer as quickly as possible the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay, perfect.
Number one question. Are you a shoe whore?
Absolutely.
I knew it.
I have so many shoes. It is terrible. And literally
how many?
Night,
approximately.
I would say over 200. And
oh my gosh! No way.
That's a lot.
And just last night, Scott was like, "Here's a box. You need to like go get these away to somebody who needs some shoes." So that's what the goal is.
Okay, you're like, okay, I'll bring it down for 200 to 190 shoes, and it's going to take me all freaking day to pick the 10 that I am willing to give up.
So
you know what? I got married really young. I was like only 22. I know, super young, and I had like over 100 pairs when I got married at the age of 22. So don't feel too bad. Don't feel too bad.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Most embarrassing moment.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is really bad.
Okay. Good.
So it's kind of sad, but bad. So I was at a basketball game when I was 14 years old, and there was this woman who was an adult, and you know, I was cheering for my friends playing, and she yelled out to, like, I was on the bleachers, you know, and she yelled out and she was like, "Stop being such a fag." This is what she said. And I was so embarrassed. Like, I was so embarrassed. And I turned around and I gave her the middle finger. And while, I mean, it's not fun, but it was just like one of the worst moments of my life, because I'm like, I wish I would have handled that in a different way. And so that was the most embarrassing moment. And you asked, and I told you.
Oh my gosh. You know what? You should have just mooned her. If when in doubt, if somebody's treating you bad, you turn around, you show them the moon.
Well,
you wouldn't have felt so bad about that. And you have a nice ass.
Thank you. My favorite part of my body is my asset. So, you know.
Oh, me too.
You guys are cracking me up.
Okay. If you could be any superhero, who would you be and why?
I would be Iceman. However, I'm going to switch it up. I would turn into Black Iceman. Not as in like because I'm a black man. I'm talking about because Black Ice, you know, Black Ice like out on the street. Because with Iceman, you can see people, you like everyone can see you, but with Black Ice, you know, if someone was trying to like hurt somebody, what you could do is you know, you could just kind of melt into the middle of the street at night and they could slip and fall and whatever.
Dude, that's pretty deep.
I have never even heard of the superhero. You are original.
It's not. Yeah, this is like original thing. And if I ever get into movies, and if I can ever write a screenplay, it would completely be about. I would create a movie called Black Iceman.
That is hilarious. Okay, we'll be looking forward to that.
Okay, favorite dessert or favorite treat meal. If it's not dessert, if you're not as much of a sweet person.
Well, I'm going to go with the first question. My favorite dessert is an apple crisp with vanilla ice cream with some caramel on top. Oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh. And so here's a quick funny story. So we were in Atlanta shooting the show, My Diet is Better Than Yours. And there's this restaurant across the street called Public Draft House. This is really fun. And they were asking me one day, they were like, "Do you want dessert?" And I looked at the dessert menu and I was like, "Well, you guys don't have apple crisp, so no." The next time I went to that restaurant, I was like, they were like, "Do you want dessert?" I was like, "No, you don't have apple crisp." And they walked up to the table. They had gone to the store to buy an apple crisp pie. They baked it while I was eating, put ice cream on top of it. And so isn't that amazing?
Gosh.
That is awesome, man.
I love people. It restores all my faith in humanity right there.
Exactly. So it was
okay. Last three really quick questions, really quick answers. Have you ever done P90X?
No.
Have you ever done CrossFit?
Yes.
Okay. And what's your fastest 100-meter time?
Oh, my fast 100-meter time, if my memory serves me correctly, it's an 11:1.
Okay, so pretty much Usain Bolt, right?
No,
Just kidding.
no, he's like
I'm just kidding.
he's like a 9'8". I was more at 9'5", but
Yeah.
I was a 400-meter hurdler. So
Oh, okay, gotcha.
so my real speed kicked in at like 200, 150 meters is when I was started to roll. But,
Cool, man. What's your fastest mile time then?
um, I don't remember. It's like a 5 something.
That's good, man. That's
I
good.
feel like we should throw in this little extra one now that we were talking about it. How do you feel about yourself when you're naked? How do you feel naked?
So this is going to be really good because it'll be part of my podcast.
Yeah.
It'll intro it. So as a kid, I was because I was molested, I would never want to be naked. And so when I got into college, high school and college, when you have to take showers, I would always wait until everyone was gone because I just didn't want to be naked. And even as an adult in my sexual lifestyle, I would always want to have the lights out just because it was just like a very crazy, situation I went through. However, so what I did in college, because, I'm always trying to dig deeper, what I would do is I would then, like, if one person was in the shower, I would go, and then eventually I just started showering around a lot of people. But I didn't get super, super comfortable with being naked until I got married. And, because Scott is constantly like, oh my God, you have a nice this and a nice that. And so now I'm like, shit, I might as well just be naked all the time. But
You're like walking around everywhere. He's like, well, you could wear clothes sometimes. You're like, no,
Right.
I'm good.
Right. And so it started out with not really being comfortable and gradually to being like, I just wish I lived on a nudist colony now because I'm like, I don't feel like doing no laundry. This is getting out of hand.
Well,
That's
there
funny.
are some nude beaches out here, so you're welcome.
Only if you two decide to come with us. That's the
Hey, I'm in. I'm in.
I am so down. You have no
Lynn's
idea.
in.
I'm not joking either, man. Once you get to know me, I mean, I just say it like it is. So
Wait, Drew, we didn't get an answer from you.
I know. I was hoping you guys would forget about me.
Drew's like, I'll think about it.
I'll
and
be
get
honest.
back
I'm
to you
kind of
later.
more towards where you were before you got married. I like being naked when I'm the only one around. But other than that, I'm not. I don't know if I'm brave enough yet. But maybe you'll be able to talk me up, Shaun. We'll have to talk
We'll
about
start
that.
with the Speedo and we'll progress from there.
We'll start with the Speedo. How about that?
Oh, okay, I'm down. So just so you
Okay.
guys know, I'm gonna use that little clip for my podcast, and I'll promote your
Okay, cool, man,
cool.
cool. Okay, last question.
Okay.
Honestly, would you ever do fit to fat to fit on purpose? Would you ever gain 75 pounds on purpose and then lose it? Like, let's say it was a TV show and you were on
Your
it and
husband
like,
would
okay,
not
Shaun
like
T is
it.
gonna
Say no.
do fit to fat to fit. Don't tell him to say no. He can say yes. He likes apple crisp.
Just think
he
of
could
your
have it
husband.
every day for 6
Oh
months.
my God. Oh my God. Would I do that? Can I talk through this or do I have to say yes or no?
No,
No, you can
talk through it.
All right. So part of me, like, I would love it because I'm like, shit, I ain't got to work out. I hit you whatever I want. But the problem is, the thing I'd be afraid about is because my family, like, I can either be really ripped or I can gain a lot of weight. And so I've seen so many people in my family have a hard time losing weight after a certain age, just genetically. So I would probably not do it because I just don't even like it. I just wouldn't know if I would be able to get back to where I am now.
So you'd be worried if you would be able to get back. Because I worried about that too. Even at 30 years old, I was worried. I'm like, man, what if it doesn't look the same? I was honestly worried about that.
Yeah, I probably.
I don't think Scott would be too happy either if you went through this.
Yeah, he loves me so much. He really could care less about my weight.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool.
I like him.
It's not a serious question. I've had 99% of people say no, obviously. I've had a couple of girls actually say yes, they would do it. But maybe it's because they just love chocolate so much.
They're just thinking about it all the time.
Oh my God, I love donuts too. But
Me too, my favorite.
I mean, I really just respect you so much for going on that journey because I just remember seeing it and I was like, to be very honest, my first response to it was like, are you effing kidding me? Like, I was like, because I was like, this guy is, and you know how you show yourself before and then you gain weight and you lose it or whatever. I'm like, this guy, he has like this amazing body. And then I was like, what in the world is going on? And then you lost it. And then I met you in person. I was like, he's fly. He wins.
He wins. I love that, man. No, I appreciate that. And honestly, I know what I did was crazy, but I learned a lot from it, and it gave me a totally different perspective as a trainer, as a person, as a human, and I definitely gained a lot of empathy. So I have no regrets. Would I do it again? Definitely not. But I did what I did, and I learned what I needed to learn, and now I have a different approach to helping people with that kind of experience. But anyway, Shaun, we know that you have to go. We've went way over our allotted time, but honestly, we will have to have you come back on, especially after the show airs. So January 7th, ABC, My Diet is Better Than Yours.
We'll put info in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll put info in the show notes for that. But we loved having you on, Shaun.
Yeah, and so if you don't mind, in the new year, I would love to have you guys on my show too. That would be really fun.
Please let us know. We would love to. And
only if we could talk about nakedness.
Nakedness.
That will be the topic of conversation. I would like to know what Drew thought about himself naked after he gained that 75 pounds, but don't answer now. We'll talk about that.
I'll wait till your podcast, and maybe some things will have changed by then. But anyways, yeah, we really appreciate you, Shaun. We appreciate what you do for so many people out there, and thanks for being who you are, man.
Well, I appreciate both of you. Thank you so much, and let's definitely stay in touch.
Thank you guys for listening to today's episode. We really hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode with Shaun T from Insanity.
And I don't know how you cannot. That man is such a kind, compassionate, motivating, inspiring person. Yeah. I got so much out of that episode.
So if you guys enjoyed today's episode, please share it with your friends. Tell others about the Fit to Fat to Fit Experience podcast, and please support us online. Check out our podcast, share it with your friends, subscribe on iTunes. Please leave a review. Let us know what you think about the show. We want to bring on other future amazing future guests to the podcast. So let us know your suggestions. Stay in touch with us, you guys, on social media. All my handles are at Fit to Fat to Fit. My website is fittofattofit.com, and sign up for the newsletter to stay in the know.
Yeah, and all of my social media handles are at the number 2 Fit at Home, and my website is the number 2 fitathome.com, and I also have a newsletter sign up on there.
Yep. So thank you guys once again. We appreciate all your support, and we will see you back here on the podcast next week.
See you guys.